Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Minister for Defence Materiel. Will the Minister advise the House of the assistance provided by defence equipment and support crews during the Queensland floods and Cyclone Yasi?
The Minister for Defence Materiel.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and can I thank the member for Petrie for a question. Last time the parliament sat, we heard a lot of stories about the incredible work that our pilots did in terrible conditions, and this question gives me an opportunity to thank the men and women who put those pilots in the air and helped to keep them there. Last year I spoke to an old pilot who told me that unless the ground crew can get you to the start line, no pilot is worth two bob. And over the last few weeks this terrible summer, there's been a lot of men and a lot of women doing a lot of work to get our planes and our helicopters to the start line. One of them is a man named Cole Beale, and Cole heads up the Black Hawk maintenance team at Oakey. Our Black Hawks have flown already more than 700 hours this year, and for every hour in the sky, there's a lot more hours of repair and maintenance on the ground, and that's meant that Cole's team have done a lot of work early in the morning and late at night. Some of his team came back from Christmas holidays, others had their own homes flooded. Cole himself had his own head under a Black Hawk the day that his car was washed down the street in Toowoomba when that inland tsunami hit that town. Now, Mr Speaker, it's because of people like Cole and his team that we were able to deliver so many supplies to isolated communities and winch so many people to safety. One of those people was an old lady who lives near the town of Forest Hill in the Lockyer Valley. On the 11th of January, this lady got the shock of her life when she found a sergeant in a full flight suit and a helmet standing in her lounge room. It was 7:30 at night, and he'd been winched into her backyard into water waist deep. He waded round to the front steps into her house and told her that it was time to go. She said, "Don't worry, my daughter's coming around to pick me up." Unfortunately, that wasn't going to happen because her house had been isolated and all the roads had been cut off. She then went and got her purse and had a look for some change. And she told the pilot, "Sorry, love, I don't have enough money for a helicopter." He told her, "Don't worry, this one's a freebie." She then went into the kitchen where she went to put the kettle on. And she said, "Would you like a cup of tea?" He said he'd love one, but they didn't have time. He'd now been in the house for about 20 minutes. It was pitch dark. The helicopter was still hovering overhead with 3 other people that had been rescued that afternoon, and the helicopter was running low on fuel. He finally got her to the front doorstep and onto her steps, where he put a harness around her, and with live electrical cables only 2 metres away, was able to winch her to safety, into the safety of the Black Hawk. Now, this was only able to happen because of a patient and brave sergeant, because of the men and women hovering overhead, and because of the men and women back at Oakey that had been working through the night to get that Black Hawk to the start line. It's a nice story, Mr Speaker. It's a nice story from a terrible day in a terrible month, and it's a timely reminder for all of us here that saving lives, just like rebuilding Queensland, requires us all to work together.